Good morning, students. So today we are going to study a biology chapter, that is control and coordination. Okay. So this topic is particularly new to you, and the concepts are similar. We are going to study about the nervous system of human body. So as you people have already studied in your 8th, 9th standard regarding the nerves, regarding the brain, regarding the spinal cord, and regarding the muscles, all these concepts we have already studied. So in this chapter in 10th standard we are going to study in detail. Okay, so before starting, let us now go through a video where it consists of a explanation of the nervous system and how the messages is sent through each and every nerve for the muscular function. Okay, so there is a small video, quickly go through it and come back.
Our sense organs, which collect information from the surroundings, are connected to the central nervous system, which consists of brain and spinal cord through afferent nerves. If something happens that requires taking action, for example, if football is flying towards you, then the central nervous system receives impulses from the sense organ and it generates response which is carried to muscle through afferent nerve, and here that response will make the leg muscles contract to kick the ball. Though different sense organs work in different ways, they all keep sending information about the changes in the surroundings that trigger responses from the central nervous system.
You are clear with the concept of human nervous system, and now comes a topic of a neuron. Okay, so this topic is very important. So what is a neuron? So neuron is the messages from the nerves will be traveled by a part named neuron. Okay, so neuron is a major purpose of traveling the messages from brain to all the other nervous system. Okay, from the brain the message will be sent to one particular nerve. So from the brain the message has to reach to that nerve. So for that reason neuron is a main thing. Okay, neuron is helping the messages to travel from brain to all the parts of the nerve. So this is a structure of neuron. Okay, so this diagram is very important. Neuron diagram. See here it's given structure of neuron. So here these are the parts of neuron, that is nucleus. This black color structure, whatever you can see, that is the nucleus of nephron. Okay, neuron. And these orange color structure around this nucleus, that one is cell body. Okay, and you can see the branch like structures over here, that is a dendrite. Okay, and this long tubular like structure, that is called as axon. Okay, and at the end of the axon there is again one more branch like structure, that is a nerve ending. So this one particular nerve is ending, that is nerve ending. Okay, I repeat, so this black color spot you can see in the center, that is nucleus. So this nucleus is very important part, students. Like how see, for the human body heart is important, right? So because of if heart functions properly, then human we can say the man is healthy, right? So similarly this nucleus carries a main role here. If nucleus is healthy, then overall this neuron will be healthy. So this nucleus is a major part in the neuron, and this is a cell body. Cell body is a part where nucleus is situated, and these branch like structures are called as dendrites, and the long tubular structure is called as axon, and at the end whatever the nerve you can see, that is called as nerve ending. So this is a structure of neuron. So next we'll continue a type of an action named as reflex action. Okay, so this is also one of the important question. What is reflex action? So action taking place due to response to stimuli. Okay, so action taking place due to response to stimuli, then such type of action is called reflex action. Okay, so I repeat, what is reflex action? Action taking place due to response to stimuli. So response to stimuli, here we are having few examples, students. Touching a hot vessel, if a hot vessel is kept and you are not knowing that the vessel is hot, you're going there and you're going to touch that hot vessel. Immediately when you touch it, you feel hot, and immediately you take your hand back, right? So that is because of response to stimuli. So when you are touching the hot vessel, your skin feels that substance is hot. So what it does, it sends the message, your brain sends the message to your nerve present in your hand to remove the hand back. Okay, so that is also one of the reflex action. Similarly, an electric shock, if a switch, if it is getting a bit of shock, then immediately when we touch the switch, if we are getting shock, we take the hand back immediately, right? So that is also one of the example of reflex action. And other one is thorns in the rose plant. So if we touch the rose plant by mistakenly, and if we are not knowing that there are very sharp thorns in rose plant, then immediately we touch. If we touch it, we'll take our hand back very soon, right? So that is also because of the response to stimuli. So all these type of actions are referred to as reflex action. Going to study about the two different types of muscles. Okay, so one is voluntary muscle and the other one is involuntary muscle. Okay, so voluntary muscle as well as involuntary muscle are the two different types of muscles present in human body. So in that, voluntary muscles, that is, it can be controlled by the conscious, can be controlled by these muscles. Usually it can be controlled with the help of brain of our body. Okay, and they are also called as a skeletal muscle. So muscles which are hard in nature, like muscles of our legs, thighs, then hands, all these muscles comes under voluntary muscles. So muscles which are hard in nature and also it can be controlled with the help of brain of a human being, then such type of muscles are called as voluntary muscle. And next one is involuntary muscle. So involuntary muscles are the smooth muscles and which is very delicate also. Okay, the muscles which are very smooth and very delicate, and it functions very regular. Okay, accurately it functions. Okay, so these voluntary muscles and all, it comes to rest for certain minutes. Now see, when we are sleeping, sleeping we don't do any work, right? So our muscles of our hands, our legs will come to rest when we sleep. But here in involuntary muscles, this doesn't come to rest. It always has to function regularly. Okay, so such type of muscles are called involuntary muscle, and the very best example for involuntary muscle is cardiac muscle. So cardiac muscle means what? So cardiac, as a word suggests, cardiac. So muscles present in the heart. Heart is made of cardiac muscle. Okay, so muscles of the heart is very delicate, very soft. Okay, heart muscles cannot be retained without functioning. It cannot come to rest. Okay, so if heart functioning come to rest, then we can say the person is dead. So for the proper functioning of heart, the cardiac muscles has to be very healthy. So cardiac muscle also comes under a involuntary muscle. So these are the two different types of muscles. We'll go on to the plant hormone concept. So in one side I have written the names of the plant hormone, and in the other side I have written the functions of that hormone. Okay, that particular hormone functions in what? Okay, so these things, it is very useful for the fill in the blanks purpose and all, and for 1 mark, 2 mark, yeah, they'll ask such type of questions. Okay, so concentrated. Plant hormones. In that first one, I'm going to take auxin. Auxin is one of the plant hormone, and this auxin helps the cells to grow. Okay, which cell? This is not related to human body. This is related to the plant body. Okay, so auxin is a plant hormone, and what is the work of that auxin is to help the cells to grow. Similarly, how the cell is present in human body, same way the cell is also present in the plant body also. Now this particular hormone, that is auxin, helps these cells to grow. Okay, so that is a work of auxin. Next, second one is gibberellins. Gibberellins, what it does is it helps in the growth of the stem. Okay, so in the plants there will be a stems, so that stems will start growing if gibberellins works properly inside the plant. Okay, this gibberellins hormone helps in the growth of the stems of the plant. Okay, and next one, Cytokinins is also a plant hormone, and its work is it helps in the cell division. Like how I have told in the first one, it has cells. Now these cells has to divide. If the cell divides, then only the plant grows. Okay, so which is helping to do the cell division? Cytokinins is helping. Okay, so cytokinins work is to help in the cell division. The next last one is abscisic acid. So abscisic acid, what it does, it inhibits the growth of the leaf. Okay, so leaf also has to grow, right? So for that reason, abscisic acid is necessary. Okay, so abscisic acid, what it does, it inhibits means helps to grow, to help in the growth of leaf. Okay, so all these are the plant hormones, and these are some of the functions of those particular plant hormones. So this is the last concept of control and coordination, that is hormones in animals. Okay, so animals means here includes animals as well as human beings also. Okay, so first we are going to a hormone named thyroxine. Okay, so thyroxine is a hormone. It helps in the metabolism of human body or animal body. So metabolism means what? We become tall, we become fat, everything, these are called metabolism. Okay, so sometimes what happens, some metabolism in some people's body will be less compared to the other one. Okay, so for example, if you can take in your own class, few students you can find they are very thin and very short, and few are very tall and very fat. Okay, so it means the person who is very fat and very tall, his metabolism inside his body, whatever the metabolism is going on, that is very good. In the sense, thyroxine is working in a very good manner. And similarly, whatever the person, whatever one more student who is very thin and very weak compared to all other kids of that class, that means we can say metabolism taking place in that boy's body is bit weaker. Okay, so it means we can say thyroxine hormone is less in number. If a thyroxine hormone is less in number, then our body shrinks. Okay, if thyroxine is more in number, then even we look fit and we look healthy also. Okay, so that is the main purpose of hormone thyroxine. And next we go to the pituitary hormone, where pituitary hormone is secreted by pituitary glands. Okay, so and this pituitary hormone, it is also called as a growth hormone. Okay, so it helps in growing the body parts. Okay, pituitary hormone's main function is to making the body parts to grow healthy. Okay, so that is a work of pituitary hormone. And the last one is insulin. Okay, insulin is also a name of a hormone, and this work of this insulin is it regulates the blood sugar level. That you might have heard, if this insulin injection will be given for the diabetic patients. Usually if their blood sugar level is very high, then insulin is given. Why? Because insulin has a capacity of controlling the blood sugar level. Okay, so for that purpose, if the person's sugar level is very high, then insulin is given to control that. Okay, so if what happens is, usually in our body itself insulin content will be there, but if the excess of sugar content is increased in the body, what happens? Automatically we get a report that we are having diabetes. Then automatically they'll give the insulin injection, all that, this and all, right? So sometimes what happens, this insulin hormone might be less from generation to generation itself. So some might be telling, right? So a few people, they'll be very fit, very healthy, they'll not eat much sweet, they'll not eat much chocolates, all such things, but still they'll be getting diabetes. Why is that? Because that is because of their generation problem. See, what happens is, because of their grandfather, because of their father, all these people might have less number of insulin in their body. So that will be same thing carried to their body with the help of a gene. So when the gene is transferring from grandfather to father, from father to your body, what happens? That if their body is having less number of insulin, then same number of less insulin will come to our body also. So by that time what happens? if you eat a bit of sugar content food, what happens? Immediately you will get a report of diabetes. So these are the problems caused because of this insulin. So insulin is maintained in a body very well because it regulates the blood sugar level in the body. So these are some of the hormones which we can see in animals as well as in the human beings. Okay, so this is the last concept of the chapter control and coordination, and here ends the topic. And a few topics I have skipped off. Why? Because the topics in this particular chapter is deleted. Okay, so lot of topics have been deleted, but still I have done it. Why? Because if I skip those topics and if I continue with the next topic, you people will not come to know what was the previous one. So to get the continuity, I have explained that one also. So here ends the topic control and coordination.